Alright, what's going on, guys? So today we're finally going to reveal and kind of review the custom local type that I have been working on forever. As actually we were just discussing off screen, which by the way, everybody say hi to Reece.
Hello.
There we go. And hopefully I pulled up a very silly picture of him here on the screen. Yeah, you've been mostly patiently waiting for this for a long time.
Mostly, yeah.
Mostly. And I do apologize that it has taken so long to get to the final point of this, but as the people who have seen the thing along through its progress, they understand why it's taken so long to get to this point. So, obviously on screen here we do have the original local type box, which everybody should know what it looks like, but you know, the best way to reveal stuff is to do it from behind a box, right? Well, you gotta have something to pull up out of the way.
Well, yeah, true.
And just for everybody,
it off the gate.
exactly. And just for everybody, I will post kind of a build log for it. I don't think I'm going to do a video so much as just a big old folder of pictures and stuff. Just because it would be something like a 2.5 hour video if I cut all the footage together from the last 1.5 years of building this thing.
Yeah.
Which
Jeez.
I'm okay with, but people are only going to watch 2.5 minutes of it, so there's no point in that. Let's get that dig in real quick. But either way, obviously, I forget, was it my, I think it was my 1,000 subscriber giveaway? Or it was a giveaway from somewhere near the end of 2016 or the beginning of 17, not 16. See, this is where you were getting me. You said 2 years. Now I'm going back way too far.
I think it was like 2017. I think it was.
I think it was. I think I talked about it at the. Yeah. Okay. So I think the contest was announced near the end of 2017. The winners were announced in January of 2018 because I think I did it for my birthday because I know it was at the beginning of the year, and then yeah, and I foolishly thought that I was going to get this thing built in like 2 months, or maybe 3, stretching it. Because realistically, at the beginning, I had no clue what I was going to do. So just... I fooled you. Okay. So we have the regular local type right up front here. Just to remind everybody what it looks like, because this is the one that I reviewed however long ago, I don't even know. Just so you guys know. Okay, see, cool, local type, whatever. And actually you'll notice that there are some bits that are changed down here at the base, and that's because I had to steal parts off of it to actually finish the custom. I had to undo some stuff I had done, which you'll see in the build log stuff. But just for a quick reminder for everybody who needs to see the regular local type. And I have the North American type. I probably should have pulled that out for the review as well. Maybe I'll do that in between takes here. But let's go back to hiding everything, so we can have a proper reveal.
A proper reveal.
A proper reveal. All right, guys. So what's going to happen here is we're actually reshooting this because apparently everything that we just went through was not recording, except for the original intro to this. But I'll cut in his actual reaction here, because I did record his audio, but I missed the actual video because technology is stupid. But here we go. Once again, for the first time, like, once again, you don't have to react because I'll just cut in your reaction. So here we go with the RX-78-01 NP Shoky Custom. Yay! Huzzah!
Oh, that actually looks sick.
Okay, so obviously you have now seen this, and we've actually completely talked through it. So, but just real quick, give another recollection after everything we've gone through. Now that you've gone over the whole thing, what are your thoughts?
I like it, to be fair. It's really good. Like, I to be fair, I probably wouldn't have been able to do anything like it because I haven't touched scratch building yet. So it's better than I would have done. Much better.
Hey, it's better than I would have done. That's like you got. It's like I had to learn how to do this. I had almost never done anything like it except for scratch building and kit bashing. I'm sorry. Well, you know what I meant. So kit bashing and then like modifying parts is something I've done. Obviously, I've featured that on several Shoky customs here on the channel. But as my first foray into scratch building, it was challenging to say the least. Especially, like, the head is where I started, actually building up that very prime-looking head, using the actual Gundam head itself, and then scratch building the entire crest up here, shaping it to fit the head, even adding in the vent, which is sadly one of the worst things I did. Once you get it in hand, you'll see how bad that particular part is. It was something I couldn't redo because I didn't have another head. It was all glued together. I wasn't going to try to cut it apart.
Yeah, true.
The ear pieces here, the little antenna, are the V-fin from the local type, cut and then put onto... I don't actually recall what the little discs are that are here on the side of the head. I think they're from another kit. I just don't know what they are off the top of my head.
Reminds me a bit of Jim Thunderbolt, like the little discs on his head.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because it's very similar in the way that it would have like that command thing on the side or a tactical thing on the side of the head.
Yeah, true.
But I honestly, for the life of me, I know what they look like. They were like gray discs, and I know I cut them off of something. I just don't know what. It's been a very long time since I started this build. And then you can see, hopefully, the little extra ear tab there. Because it's prime. Those came off of the actual little V-fin. That's the smaller V-fin. If you did the, Dark Matter Exia, you had the smaller V-fin. But they came off the Amazing Exia, but came in the same parts. So I actually cut those off, and it's all glued together. And what made it really difficult, that I didn't know at the time, the plastic I was gluing to, the gray part, was not polystyrene. So it didn't glue exactly right. Like, it's fine now, but I was wondering why it wouldn't take. Turns out it was actually ABS. So it works. It's just, as I covered before in my gluing video, you got to have the right kind of cement for things. The faceplate itself came off of that same Amazing Exia leftover part, just cut and fit to the head. And then now I can actually say this in the right order. So looking at the eyes, which you guys can sort of see on screen, and I talked to Reece about it, it's very hard to see in there. So like the original local type, which I'll bring in for comparison now because it's how you do things, he does have the red visor on there for reasons. So it actually makes the face itself super narrow if you don't have the visor. So I painted the eyes, I assembled the head, and realized that there were glaring gaps on either side of the face. So I ended up having to use the visor, which thank God I held onto it, because I didn't know where it was. It was still in the box with all the other spare parts. And then I just sort of painted around to make Gundam eyes on it. It's going to be real hard to see. You can see it in person much easier than the camera can. So, and then obviously you guys can see the major difference here between the chest construction. So if you've never done the local type, this entire front plate is not the actual chest. So there's a real chest inside of that. So I just negated all those parts, and the chest here, I saved some of it. No, actually, no, it's in there, now that I recall. That's still there, but all of this was scratch built from styrene sheet and put together. Fun fact, it was not normal flat sheet. It was actually what's made to look like siding on a building, so there's actually ridges. if you ever want to look at it when you get it in hand, there are certain places you can still see the little like ridges on the inside parts. It's really funny. I got regular styrene sheet after the fact, but you can see it's built up to look like the chest of a prime, including these little ray sections here, which I actually had to cut down significantly from the original design. He literally could not look over them. And then the top lights are just little bits of runner. I cut it out and glued all the crap together. And of course, obviously, all the paint that went into this thing. The windshields themselves are actually from, I don't even know what toy it was. It's just the plastic piece, you know, the bubble, cut to shape and then painted with Tamiya clear, which, by the way, it's all Tamiya paints. The I said chest, but the torso piece here, the grill, was like the second thing I built, which was a fully scratch built piece. There's almost nothing on it that is an original piece, with the exception of the little clippy here, which is obviously from a side skirt. And then look inside there. Yeah. There's actually the side skirt polycap, all of that glued together and then made to fit up in there. And then the chest itself is clearanced ever so slightly, so that even if he does rock forward, he goes over it, not into it. The original idea was actually to have that tilt in whenever he leaned forward, so it would never really hit it. It still sort of does it. And then, of course, you guys can see all the little detail paints all over it. So that part was all customized, all the black paint in the world covering this guy. And then come down to the crotch pieces. As you can see, major difference there. Cut down and reshaped. And then all the styrene pieces on there added to make him look like a Prime. It was actually pretty fun. I really got to use my chopper there. But not easy to make sure they were the exact size and placement and all that. That was a huge pain in the butt. And then he's got some added tanks on the side skirts there, because I had to figure out where to put them. Normally on Prime, they're kind of either here or down here, but it just wasn't going to work, and I didn't want to make new side skirts. So glued those on there. By the way, I completely skipped over the shoulders because I'm a jackass. So the normal shoulders, got the top bits are cut off, the little handles, so to speak, are cut off, and then you see the custom Xeon emblem painted a Decepticon purple. That whole piece was cut out from a sticker, and I basically made a 3D stencil of it and glued it on there. And you can see there's actually depth to it. I did sand the shape into it, so it's not flat. That was a pain. But a lot of fun. That was a goal I set for myself. I was like, I'm going to make this thing real and three-dimensional. And yes, I know they have a thing for those. You can buy it. But none of them were the right size, and I could not get that part set anywhere. Also added the shoulder extensions here, plated the end of it here for the smokestacks, which are in fact the original beam saber, just cut down, shaped, and then added a piece there for the smokestacks, which is actually drilled out and then shaded to look dirty. And as you've already seen, Reece, these do come off for storage sake. Not so you can use them in beam sabers again, but I wanted to make sure that I could remove them, because otherwise that would be a very hard thing to ship.
Yeah.
And the original, these were actually a lot taller, so these were like up here when I first glued it together. And I was like, that needs to be trimmed down.
Just the tad.
Yep. And the arms are mostly the same, no real difference here, except for the forearm tabs for the beam sabers are cut off, and then you get the little bits here on the forearm. That's his what is that? Not the play button. There's this eject. That's the has the eject button on his arms. I actually have to make that joke on an upcoming review, because I saw that and I'm like, he's gonna eject some stuff. Now the arms are different, so this right arm is in fact made up of left arm bits, because the beam saber mounts are made only for the left arm. And you're thinking, oh, you just flip it over there, no problem. Nope. You actually have to re-engineer and redo the inner arm where the fist plugs in, because of the way it all goes together. So it is actually the right arm, but the socket for the hand is cut off and flipped 180 degrees just to make this work. So sometimes you have to actually modify the skeleton of something to make it fit. And as you guys can tell, I actually robbed a lot of parts off of this guy. So this is the standard right arm, which was originally from this one. And then since I had two left arms, I had spares. Coming down to the legs again, because I need to jump ahead. The thighs are custom, so it's just a plate cut, glued, and shaped. But underneath, it's all still the same. And for reference, and I think I showed you potentially when we first got started. These are all based off of the 3A Nemesis Prime. That's where I got a lot of this design. So very high-end, non-transforming transformer. Coming down here, the knees.
The 3A one. I'll have to look at that, because I haven't seen the 3A one yet.
I think I sent you the images when I first got started to give you an idea of what I was doing.
Oh, yeah, I think you did.
But, you know, that was like a year and a half ago, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
But the knees, you can see here, stayed the same. But I wanted to leave some Gundam influence in this guy. Oh, by the way, he does still have the peg in the crotch, so I think you can put him on a stand. The polycap might not be in there, so I don't recall. I don't remember putting the polycap in.
No, I'm sure I've got a spare one.
Yeah. Now then you'll have to take the whole thing apart. Are you down for that? It don't matter.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, leave them standing. So you guys can see here are my original modified calves and ankle armors down here, because I did not originally have these nice, leg vents in mind. I tried building an entire custom piece that was all add-on. I wanted things to be able to be removed for painting and then, for any other future purposes. But in the end run, that design was terrible and actually is what held me up for months, just trying to get that figured out. And, that's kind of the thing. It's like, it's not just builder's block, it's engineering. Sometimes if you don't have the idea in your head, it can be stuck. So these are just real thin styrene strips glued to the back place. The way the leg is assembled made this super easy. So it ended up being really awesome and one of my favorite features of the whole thing. And as you can see, little blue details along the way, along with red dots as we go. The wheel wells are completely scratch built and then glued to the side of the leg. See, that's where you see that extra plate there. So, and by the way, the legs are mirrored, but they're not the same. So the legs construct the same way from side to side. So this is like let me see here. Let me look. If you never built it, well, no, you haven't, Reece. So this whole side connects back here, but this inner calf is a smaller separate piece, and it's the same to each leg. So one of them has a very thin plate to connect to it, and the other has a very thick and wide plate. So that was one thing I had to keep in mind, and also that kept me from screwing up my pieces. But as you can see, like I said, totally scratch built from styrene sheet. Used my cutter, or chopper, I'm sorry, a lot. Even used the wheels and tail lights here from the little truck that I used to get my scale, because I didn't want the wheels to be too big. So thanks to Josh at Hobbytown for helping me go through like all of the cars and stuff they had to find the right thing that I wanted. I was even looking at model kits. By the way, the wheels are completely painted. So that's actually a matte black paint over the wheels and then hand painted the rims with the same silver leaf that everything else is. The feet are completely unchanged for the most part. They're just good looking feet. So one of the only things this guy doesn't actually have is the shield. I'm assuming you're okay with that. Just look completely like,
yeah, that doesn't bother me.
Shields are pointless. So let me get him out of the way here, so we can go over the accessories and weapons again, because this entire review had to be done again. But as you've seen before, but now these people are seeing for the first time, the custom weapon that I teased, his awesome double-bladed axe, which is made from, of course, the part set from IBO. So it is the axe that the Guzhan Rebake Full City used, and then I needed two of them to make it double-bladed, so I actually cut the whole side off, because there was like a little dealie on one side. So I cut that off, cut the blade off the other one, and then glued them together almost seamlessly. There's a couple little mistakes, but you have to have it in hand to really find them. But other than that, I took some of my weathering that I also learned, and I told you this whenever, since we've been talking for, well over a year now, the weathering steps that I learned along the way. So, I mean, to me, a lot of this really does look like worn metal, and it takes a little bit of suspension of disbelief. But he does hold it. You just gotta have to hold the back of the hand on to get it in there. Like so. And it looks awesome. And for those who just want to have a slightly more badass feel, you totally get the extra long handle. And unfortunately, a feature that he was going to come with, he was going to get an angled hand for holding the axe. And I was going to steal the lance hand off of that ground type S that you just built.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I put it right in front of you, actually.
Yep. So you know how he's got that, kinked wrist?
Yeah.
Yeah, so originally I was going to use that for this purpose. but the ball joints are different sizes. The back of the hands are completely different. You're getting a phone call. He does have this bad boy as well. One of the cooler custom weapons I've ever made. And if, you know, 300 points to whoever can tell me what it came from. I'll wait. No, you're all wrong. It came from the bazooka off the Amazing Red Warrior HG, which was actually given to me by chance at a Gundam meet, or Gundam Club meet. A friend of mine had built a custom one and didn't use all the weapon parts, so I ended up getting the runners just to build this when I was trying to figure out what I was going to do for his weapons. So, massive coincidence that I ended up getting this at all. So, it's pretty awesome. So the barrel is marginally unchanged, except for this little bit here where the extra handle. I actually covered all that up with plate. The camera kind of thing up on top is in fact from the original kit, but it was mounted on the bottom. The bottom here is all custom plated. I've made all of this part around here, even adding in the little ridge lines here, just for some effect. And then this is actually from the Local Types machine gun. So that's the barrel and the little bit here, and then even the handle, which I did actually cut down quite a bit. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't. Was it? Yeah. I'm trying to remember now. Well, no, I'm trying to remember because maybe it was from a different gun because I'm missing like the whole back section there. I think no, it was from the bazooka off of the. It was the handle off the Zaku 2 bazooka. Is what it was. Sorry. So this was the machine gun. That was actually different. So it actually had like a whole extension piece that came down here. I thought it looked bad, so I ended up cutting it off right before paint. Like, I mean right before paint. The back section here is actually from that bazooka, but it is in fact cut off and flipped 180. So you guys can see I plated off the back here. It's okay, but I wanted it to look a little bit beat up. It's not perfect, but you expect it's for a scratch build. And then this little bit down here was in fact not even part of it. So that's a really cool custom gun and probably one of the more proud things I have on this entire build. And it does, of course, plug in like it should. So there you go. That's him holding his weapons of doom. And yeah, there's the downfall of that. That back of the hand is held on by such a small tab. I'm definitely gluing that before shipping. Because you can hold, like, that hand is glued to the handle. You don't have to worry about that one. So you just swap hands for the rifle. But for the axe, I will glue the backs of the hands on. And obviously, as you can see, it does just slide in like that. That is beautiful, if I'm honest. Like, I have to toot my own horn a little bit on this, man. Because when I started this, I really didn't know what I was going to do. Originally, it was just going to be a custom paint job. And then I decided, I'm going to do something real special, you know, because this was a big deal. Whatever the deal was that this giveaway was for, I think it was 1,000 subscribers, but I could be wrong. We definitely have to go back and look at the video to see who won, which way it came from. But it was a big deal, so I wanted to do something special. And I foolishly thought that I could get this done in 2 months. Maybe 3 if I was pushing it. The legs alone took that. And, you know. So, guys, if you're going to scratch build something and you don't have a plan, figure it out ahead of time. It's like, I did know that once I got to the chest, I thought that was going to be the hard part. And that ended up being kind of a breeze. The head and the chest were the first couple things built in, like, the first 2 weeks. I built the head. The head was done in a couple of hours with the exception of shaping. Like, there was just sanding and stuff like that. And the chest, I mean, the final bits, because I didn't even have the top lights and stuff on there. That was the last thing I did. And I thought that was going to be the last part I needed to build. And then I was like, oh, I need to modify the legs just a little bit. Oh, I want to make a three-dimensional Xeon logo for the shoulder. So it's every little bit. So as I learned new skills, this thing got better and better. So it's an accumulation even up till now, because I just literally just finished painting it like 2 weeks ago. For those of you who've seen the pictures, know. Which, by the way, for anybody who missed it, of course, Reece really only got to see it finished now. It's like he saw progress for months, and then I told him, okay, I'm going to stop now so that you can have a surprise at the end, so you can actually see what it really looks like. But yeah, it's the most amount of work that I've put into anything. so far as a model builder. And even though I didn't really show off the backpack, it's, you know, just added on some thrusters and then painted. And of course, I think, I think I ran out of paint at one point. I ran out of black paint halfway through getting it. I didn't even get to painting the legs, and I ran out of freaking paint. So, and then Hobbytown closed, which made it even more difficult. So I was just like, just thing after thing after thing slowed this thing down. But, you know, I'm glad that it's finally done. And that it can finally go to you, even though it's going to be just a little bit longer, because there's a whole side project that's being done for this that it's going to take a little bit of time. It's not a build, so to speak, but that's still going to be a surprise even for you.
That's 'cause I haven't been told yet.
Yeah, only the people who are helping me with it know what it is. So, because that's going to be almost completely out of my hands. So that's the thing that sucks about it, having to wait on other people's schedule. But I appreciate all the help. But yeah, so overall, like, because I didn't get your impression of the weapons. Like,
Sorry.
that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, they're good. To be fair, they're quite good because like I'm a pretty big fan of IBO, so it actually does look really nice.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't give him a big double-bladed axe like that, because it just looks like it should be that way.
Yeah, to be fair.
It's like, just to be fair, it looks like it should have been that way. And that was one of the more fun things I did. Just swapping up, you know, adding an extra blade. And originally, the edges of the blade were going to be like Energon infused, but then when I got to the actual painting, I'm like, it looks just better in actual metal, because it's supposed to be more Gundam-like. And a Gundam's not going to have an energy axe.
Well, there is the heat axe.
The Heat Hawk, yes. And I considered that, considering it's technically a Xeon build. But, you know, it was more work than I ended up deeming necessary, because it looks so good this way. And just for comparison with the Flame Toys Nemesis Prime.
Oh, so you did get it down.
Oh, yeah. I got up and did it. You know what's so bad is that the camera you're looking through actually looks better at the moment than the one I'm looking through.
Doesn't need to be questioned.
Exactly. Okay, so let's wrap this. We got sidetracked there for a second. All right.
Yeah.
So guys, obviously the straight up comparison there, and so you can see the similarities, and this is why a lot of people are like, "Man, is that the new gun for one of the Prime kits?" And I'm like, "No, not really." So. You know, this is more G1 classic. It's just very similar. But the funny thing is the barrel. This is actually a bigger barrel than this one. So he's not just shooting plasma pulses anymore. He's shooting whatever he feels like, honestly. But it was a labor of love, so to speak. Definitely challenged me in ways I've never thought that I would even get a chance to do. Learning techniques along the way from other people, even from watching Tested and Adam Savage build things, was a big influence on actually being able to scratch build a lot of these things. I would never have known how to cut out the windshields out of a single plate without, you know, building a frame if I had not seen him build something. And of course, thanks to Josh, Dion, Dougie, and all the other guys who helped me along the way with inspiration and tips on things that I needed to build, and how to build them, basically. And of course, thanks to you for being a loyal subscriber all this time and putting up with the fact that it took so long to get here.
It's okay.
But yeah, it's been worth it in the end, even if I don't get to keep it. Hey, I'll send you this one. I'll send you this one instead. I'll send you an Ultra Magnus. Like, that's another Shoky custom, technically. Technically, it's not a full on build, but I'm really surprised actually that one has not gotten very many views. But either way, so guys, make sure you hit that like button down there. Hit the subscribers button if you are new. We got plenty of new subscribers. It'd just be nice if they would watch videos. I was gonna keep digging at it because it makes no sense. Check out Shoky merch, stuff like that. I may end up having Shoky merch in the future with this guy on it. So I'm gonna get lots and lots of pictures before it goes, and then maybe somebody can turn that into artwork for me on a t-shirt, because that'd be pretty cool. I like having some of my Shoky custom stuff on t-shirts if I can. So thanks for watching, guys. It has been a double review, technically speaking, because it's the second time we've been through it. This time we recorded it. By we, I mean me, because I'm an idiot. And I'll see you on the next review. And remember, as always, to keep on building.